YouTube. This is going to be a review of Body Shop Nature's Miracles Foundation SPF 25. It's their mineral foundation from their minerals range, and I picked this up in my last trip to the US sometime in March, I think. So I've had quite a bit of time to work with it and play with it and get a good idea of what I think of it. Now, in general, my skin has the fine lines, dryness, fine lines, and large pores trifecta that make mineral makeup a bad idea in general. So why do I keep looking for it? Because I find the whole idea of mineral makeup to be so nifty that I keep looking, searching for a product that will work for me. It's, easy to apply, it's supposed to make your skin looks really good, and unfortunately so far this search has been about as fruitful as trying to find good pizza in London, which is to say not very fruitful at all. So this thing comes, this is in shade 01, which is the lightest shade they make, obviously. It comes in a regular sifter jar. I wish when I bought it, the great Encore video on how to minimize mess, mineralized mess, was around, because it would have prevented this from happening. But unfortunately I didn't, so a lot of it, like more than half of it, is now above the sifter, which is a little inconvenient and causes mess like this, but it doesn't really affect the application very much. You apply it, there's a Body Shop produced video on how to apply this thing, and I'll give you a quick overview on how to do it. Basically, from closing, you tip it over a couple times. Once should be enough, twice is more than. And then unscrew it carefully. I have to do it super extra carefully because obviously a lot of the product is already, in the open. And you end up with quite a bit of product in the cap, and this is what you'll be working with, the cap. I got the Body Shop Kabuki with it, which is a pretty good kabuki brush. It's very dense, but quite soft and feels good on the face. So this is how it works. You take the cap, you dip the brush, swirl, 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 and tap off if you haven't seen Encore's video, which you totally should. And if you have, you obviously are now doing it in the back of your hand to get the product deeper into the brush. And then, the usual, and buff. Buff, 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 buff. Around. And then, obviously, repeat repeat as many times as you need it. Now, the sales lady, at the Body Shop told me that this formulation works with dry skin, and I must have had my gullible hat on that day because I believed her. Well, I found out pretty quickly that I completely should not have. This thing, even after applying it on top of the primer and on top of the moisturizer and primer, this thing makes my fine lines look prominent, my prominent lines look cavernous, and my pores look absolutely enormous. So it was a complete bust as far as that goes. But that wasn't really all. One of the appeal in the store I was looking at it, one of the things that appealed to me a lot was the fact that it matched my shade. It matched my skin. My skin is really light. And I was having problems finding foundation. The mineral foundation didn't make me look, it wasn't too dark. And when I got it home and I played with it a little bit, I found out why it matched. The thing goes on so sheer as to be practically invisible. It is beyond, forget measuring it up, measuring the coverage, measuring the coverage against something like an actual foundation, like a liquid foundation. We're talking about it made the ultra sheer MAC powder, the face powder, look positively full coverage. And even after it builds the coverage, you can build the coverage, and after about 4 or 5 layers, it actually begins to provide some sort of, some sort of covering. But by that time it starts to look a little, oddly ashy. So it was a complete bust all around. I was very disappointed. I mean, I did get a good, at least a good brush out of it, because I'm happy with how the brush works. I used it with powders and other mineral foundations, and I like it, so at least there's that. But the product itself, I can't even really recommend it for somebody who doesn't need a lot of coverage, because as long as you need any coverage whatsoever, it's, it's a complete waste of money. You might as well just go with a you could use it for setting, but it's ridiculous to buy something like that for setting when you can just buy translucent powder and use that with one layer, and that's all it takes, instead of risking this looking ashy or looking patchy somehow after, or odd, going odd throughout the day. So I'm not sure what honestly, I'm having a really hard time to come up with a positive. I mean, it didn't make my skin look yellow, it didn't make my skin look pink, it didn't make my skin look any different than before I applied it. And that's about, I mean, it doesn't make my skin feel like, I mean, I showed you, but I've also applied several layers on before I did the video, just to, to confirm what I wanted to say. And it doesn't even make my skin look in the way that powder foundation should make you. So it doesn't even make my skin feel that way, like all, matty sort of. And I'm quite disappointed with the product. But just to go over the main points, you can apply it over, depending on your skin, you can apply it over a primer or a moisturizer, or both, with a kabuki brush or wet sponge. If you're actually looking for good ways of applying, various ways of applying mineral foundation, Glintsy has an excellent video, I'll link to it in the sidebar, on comparing various applications. Encore has another one that's also very good to show you how to get a sheer, to build from sheer to full coverage with the foundation. And if you're going to follow those, and if you want to try a mineral, you want to try play around with mineral foundation, or you want to, look for a different one that you're already using, just don't go with this one. I don't think it's a good product at all. So that's it. Thank you for watching once again, and enjoy the rest of your night. Bye.